Língua Baixa.
Welcome, smoothers and beautiful people. How are you all? G'day, Cement Shoes. Emily, hello. Ruth, Ruth rolling in. Miss Kay, Francesca, hello. The beautiful people are arriving. This won't be a long one, but it's going to be a good one. A good one. You think I could just do some gardening and have some peace? No. I have been, obviously, like many people around the world, following the tragic murders of 4 college students in Idaho. And of course today, we once again saw the great unraveling online from the web sleuths. Was happily listening to, I don't even know what it was now, a cooking. No, it wasn't a cooking. It was a travel channel. And then my phone moved on to the next YouTubey thing, and it was all about this guy Adam, and I thought, here we go again. So I actually grabbed my phone and had a bit of a search on YouTube and discovered that a Facebook community covering this case, which weirdly I am a member of, but I don't participate in because it is literally full of absolute I've got to be polite, what's the word? What is the word? Well, just fake sleuths, basically. I mean, there are some reasonable people in there, but they're few and far between. For the most part, if you want to laugh and do something that makes you feel better about yourself, join one of those Facebook groups, because you'll realise if you're contemplating yourself momentarily and thinking you're a less than average human being, it will remind you that you're not. Far from it, in fact. You are far from it, I meant. So anyway, heard the chatter, had a bit of a look, and yes, in this Facebook group, some additional footage of the night that the kids were murdered was released by this Facebook group to Fox News in America. And everyone was a flurry about it, because in it, 2 of the victims, Kaylee and Madison, are heard chatting, and the name Adam is mentioned. As soon as I heard it's footage given to Fox News by a Facebook group, I was like, yeah, okay, so it's nothing new that's actually verified or factual, but let's see what the YouTubes are saying about this. Well, who would have thunk it? Hundreds of channels live, all talking about this Adam. And unfortunately for a kid called Adam, who happens to be in the college group and is actually friends of one of the victims' ex-boyfriends, this guy today has been essentially put out there in intimate detail by irresponsible YouTubers. I mean, I know this kid's name. I know how tall he is. I know that he's really good at sport. I know way too much about this kid. Hey, Joey. And I'm just doing a live, very quick one, because it is in fact a tale of 2 Adams. Not the one the sleuths have been essentially doxing, exposing, and irresponsibly not, well, did I see anyone saying he was the killer? Maybe. But there was certainly a lot of people saying that this Adam guy, being a friend of the ex, who has been discussed frequently as a possible suspect as well by the web sleuths, not by the cops. he's now sort of, the next person who's now having his life thoroughly investigated by thousands of people online. And if you want to know anything about the guy, this poor kid whose life, like many others, probably from this case and definitely from previous ones, their lives could essentially be ruined by this irresponsible behavior. Now, weirdly, it was Fox that I'm rushing through this because I want to get straight to the chase. When something pops up like this, and we've recently had Joseph Morris putting up fake stuff, but when something like this pops up, you straight away have to go, where's this come from? Well, who's the source, and why now, 5 weeks later, is this seeing the light of day? Like, why hasn't this been released officially before if it was relevant? The information that's coming out from the police department, why is not included in that? You've got to be really suspicious. The Truckee kids are exactly who I was thinking of, Francesca, yes. And if you ask yourself that question first before you go any further, if there are alarm bells ringing like it came from a Facebook group, it's 5 weeks in, there's already other footage of the food truck. Your next question would be, do you reckon LA already know about this? I mean, it's going to be a long investigation because just think of how many college kids alone they've got to interview and witnesses, not witnesses to the actual crime, but they're going through an extensive list. They're going through all kinds of footage. They've actually publicly stated how much footage they're going through, or not how much, but the volume of it. So that should be your next question is, do you reckon LA knows about this? Absolutely they do. Of course they do. And you can hear these YouTubers going, well, he's turned off all of his social media. It's all privated now. That's suspicious. Do you know who would have told the kids to do that? The cops, when they spoke to them. They would have said, for your own safety and peace of mind, get the hell off social media because people are going to be looking through it. And we know that's exactly what people have been doing. And the reason I'm fired up about this is because as a former criminal defense lawyer, this is, and I've used this term in a live that I was chatting in the other day, this is a defense lawyer's wet dream, what's going on. Sorry if that offends. What is happening online is giving defense lawyers so many reasons to have key witnesses struck when this goes to trial, if and when it goes to trial. So keep it up, web sleuths, because I've said it so many times on this channel, you are going to eventually lead to some guilty as hell person walking free because of what you're doing. But what I want to do first is, hey, Miss K, is go straight into the second offering from Fox News today. I don't know why this isn't going viral on YouTube, I guess, because like everything else, when these sleuths spent hours poring over some innocent kid's social media and the couple that I listened to briefly were more implying that he was a direct link to the ex and therefore the ex did it. Now I've lost my train of thought. I'm fired up, man. I'm fired up. Oh, yeah. How many of them are offering apologies? I mean, I'm still waiting for people to apologize for accusing Athena Strand's stepmother of killing her. Still waiting for that. So, yeah, interestingly, nobody's going live going, uh-oh, we got it wrong. And there's people even live right now analyzing and scrutinizing every aspect of this college kid's life. But interestingly, Fox News, who put this other thing out earlier on today, have done a second thing that nobody seems to be talking about. And it's actually an interview with the father of Kaylee Gonsalves talking about this particular video. And I thought we should share that and have a look at it and see what a father of one of the victims, who knows more than the public know, see what he thinks about this video. I'm going to share this. The way the Fox website's set up, it's really hard for me to expand without losing, without it being like taking up a full screen and then I can't keep chatting and so on. But so I apologize, but it will pop out a little bit. But let's just have a listen. I'm not going to play all of this interview, but the Adam thing is addressed right at the start. So let's have a listen, Groovers.
Me now is the father of Kaylee Gonsalves, Steve Gonsalves.
Wait a minute, hang on. I have a Bluetooth speaker connected, and I just need to disconnect that, or you won't hear it because it's a long way away from here. All right, take two.
And joining me now is the father of Kaylee Gonzalez, Steve Gonzalez, as well as their family's attorney, Shannon Gray. Steve, thanks so much for joining the program again. I made a promise to you that our audience would stay on this case and not let this case die. We had a cooling off period last week out of respect for law enforcement to bring the temperature down a little bit. What new can you tell us, Steve? I know we got this new surveillance video that was released by our digital team today. What can you tell us?
Just reiterating, Steve Gonsalves' daughter Kaylee was one of the victims, and he has been specifically asked about this bit of footage that a Facebook group sent to Fox, and they put it out a couple of hours before they did this interview, before this interview went to air. All right, let's see what Steve Gonsalves has to say.
That film, to the family, we've had that film for a while. I believe the business reached out to us directly, and after they had given it to the police. So it was kind of comforting to us because it's just two girls having a good time talking about, asking about their bartender and just being girls on their way to the grub truck.
Yeah, so you don't suspect that this guy, Adam, that's stated in the video is somehow a suspect or anything like that. You guys have known about this video for a while.
We have, and we asked we did the obvious due diligence when we looked into that, and it was pretty clear that this individual was not a part of the investigation as far as a suspect.
Good copy. So, Steve, what can you tell us about the investigation that's...
So, hey, Wake the Truck Up America. Interesting. Adam is the name of the bartender at the bar they'd just been at. Interestingly, Steve Gonsalves and his family have known about this video for quite a while now, as have the police. And they've also been reassured that that was looked into, and the guy, the barman, Adam, not a suspect. But meanwhile, on all the social media platforms, be it Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, today, channels and people and tweeters have been throwing a kid called Adam, who just by pure coincidence is a friend of Kaylee's ex. And they've been absolutely like combing through whatever they possibly can to get information about him. This is insanity. This is absolute insanity. I saw a tweet yesterday that had something really simple, like a heading that just said 4 college students murdered in Idaho. And then they actually called it true crime community, which made my heart sink again, because this, whatever this is, this fake sleuthing, bad sleuthing, gore crowing, whatever you want to call it, that's going on, that we're all witnessing by the daily now, by the hourly. The heading was, 4 college students brutally murdered in Idaho, true crime community be like. And then there was a gif of a guy going, this is going to be good. They're hanging out for this stuff. I've got so many things I want to say. Why do they think they know more than LE? You can't complain about LE 5.5 weeks on not having arrested a guy yet without factoring in the volume of what they are investigating, the results they're still waiting on to come back in, all the connecting the dots going on, interviews, going through video footage, dealing with all the bullshit tips that are being phoned in every 5 seconds. You can't complain and go, what's going on, LE? You haven't solved the crime yet. And then a Facebook group puts up a little bit of a video and now you all think you're miles ahead of LE. Really? Really? You think you know more than the cops already do? You've got the victim's dad 2 hours later, after Fox put this video up that they received from the Facebook group. 2 hours later, you've got a victim's father sitting there going, No, it's just Adam at the bar, and it was just the girls having a good night, and he's not a suspect, and the cops know about it. Why aren't people going live about that? Like, if you're gonna, I mean, my view of Fox is irrelevant in this, but if you're gonna use Fox as your source, and you've got two options, a Facebook group or the father of a victim who can explain exactly who Adam is, which one do you listen to? I'm absolutely losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. How's everyone else feeling about this? I mean, you're Wake the Truck Up America rolls in, and I'm thinking that's the most appropriate. It's just gobsmacking, and it's gobsmackingly negligent and irresponsible. Let's just have a look right now at YouTube, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about because, you know, we bring receipts around here. I'm just going to refresh it, and I'm going to share it. Bee's knees, that bad element. Yeah, and they do. They're like, my dad used to say, they're like flies to a turd. How are you, Bee's knees? Look at you in your little festive Santa hat. Bless. Good to have you here. It is. It's real life. I mean, in every level. Like, when do these gore crow bad sleuthing channels ever acknowledge the victims? When do they ever stop and go, this is like 4 kids lost their lives? There are literally hundreds of people, family and friends, absolutely heartbroken right now. Like, it's bad enough to lose someone you love. Then you lose a kid, and the kid is brutally murdered. And they're all just delving and digging. Oh, I found this on Instagram. That's Adam, the friend of this guy who's her ex, and I reckon that means that the ex did it. And they're just, as I keep saying, their stories are not ours to exploit. It's one thing to be curious and follow it, and as verified facts come out, sort of go, that's an interesting bit of information. And like I've said, if we're sitting around my dining room table, sure, some of you might have some theories. You'll probably get laughed at if they're ridiculous, or if you're like, I reckon it was Adam, the guy they mentioned in that short video, and we'd all be like, dude, it was the bartender, Adam. But whatever this new community is that call themselves true crime, they are literally flies to a shit. That's what they are. And there's no regard for the victims, but there's also no regard for all these innocent kids. Every detail of their lives is being put out there for everyone to scrutinize and dig deeper until they find something they can loosely go, this looks suspicious, it must be them. So many of these kids haven't actually been officially identified and verified by official sources. I mean, Hoodie Guy is a classic example. For weeks and weeks and weeks, this kid has been ripped to shreds. No one has ever come out and actually formally acknowledged and verified who Hoodie Guy is, but they've all run with it. Social media ain't going to solve this case. No way, no day. Started a channel called Gore Crow Watch. Well, this sort of is. This sort of is. I mean, I've got the sorest arms and shoulders. My God, I pulled out a lot of weeds today. Oh, I took advantage of the fact that it had been raining for 3 days, and I thought, all the weeds will be easy to pull out, and now I'm like this. I'm a gore crow. They thrive on the attention, clicks, and views. Well, but the thing is, I actually think they do. I agree with you, Francesca, but I also think they believe their own BS. They think they know more than the cops do. They think they know more than the FBI. Like, I'm afraid to say it, but any police department in any small country town, and to be honest, 25,000 population is kind of small country town, you know, if they make one little error, if they slip up once, they're just going to be labelled incompetent. But the FBI are on this case too. And these little twerps online think they're smarter than the FBI. And I've said this many times too. We know 5, maybe 10% of what the cops know. And thank God we don't know more. Because how many more lives are they going to meddle with? If I had a kid at that college and they were suddenly the topic of the day on YouTube, like, what would you do? What would you have to put in place? You would have to do the same sort of stuff that the kid in Truckee and his family who had to leave Truckee because of threats and harassment from people online. Like, they are meddling with people's lives and innocent people's lives, and they don't care. There are thousands of Adams. Well, this is true, but I also think it's more than that. Because it's never sat with me that it's just about clicks and views. There's obviously the ego too of all these people rocking in. But when you listen to them, even if you just try 5 different channels that talked about Adam, the college kid today, they act like they know more than the FBI. It's gobsmacking. Salivating over everything is revolting, Ruth. I agree. Imagine a Facebook group telling the flight crew to let them try flying the plane or forcing themselves into an operation so they can try their hand at kidney transplant surgery. It's madness. Weirdly, I've used the surgery example too. It's like, imagine doing open heart surgery and you've got 100 Facebookers or YouTubers of the bad sleuthing community sitting in there going, no, they did that wrong. No, they got that wrong. I saw that. I saw on House. You pull the white bit out before you cut the red bit. Oh, my God. It's just insanity. But would they exploit their own? Because I kind of feel like they're going to be our worst nightmare if anything bad ever happens to them and their family member is treated the way they're treating these family members and victims and friends. We will never hear the end of it. They'll be trying to get everyone to pick up their pitchforks and go out and smote all of these horrible people on YouTube saying terrible things about their child and their child's friends and so on. But you could be right, Francesca. There probably is a warped percentage of that community that would continue sleuthing on even if it was their own story. Isn't that freaky? I haven't waked the truck up. I might have to play it at the end. Let me get it up. Have I spelled it wrong? Is there no gaps? I can't find you. That's exactly how I wrote it in the search bar. Type up the heading under under this live at the end, or if someone else can find it, because I still have a bit of ranting to do. This is a half-hour live. I'm doing a quicken, and I'll be live for 3 hours. You watch. Yeah, MGL. Know the full names, and I know this kid's full name. I know how tall he is. I know what sports he's good at. What else did I know? I know what he's studying, where he lives. You name it. And I literally bounced between 5 channels and went, you guys are all insane. And here's another innocent kid whose life you're about to fuck with. Go you, good things. Yeah, MGI and Bullhorn Betty as well. They do all the hard yards. Yeah, while the cops sit in air conditioning. I know, it's insane. Hey, Divbies. I don't know how to pronounce you, but I'm going to just call you Div. But if it's Divbies, it's Divbiz. Joe, you're quite right. I'm discovering more and more. I do, however, find some channels that work hard and try to actually give viewers authentic information and seem dedicated to solving the case. Look, I'm with you until authentic information, full stop. I'm all for channels that give authentic information. But as for being dedicated to solving the case, no. No. It's not their job. And they're not smarter than the FBI. End of story. But other than that, I agree with you entirely. There are some great channels out there, and they're very responsible with how they report. but I haven't found any channels that are putting factual information out there, and who are reporting it responsibly, who also think they're going to solve it. I think like us, like our community, we've been into true crime for a very long time, and we like following cases. And if and when information comes out, we like to discuss it. But in terms of solving anything, any channel that thinks that that's what they're doing, they tell them they're dreaming. I've got little dinosaur arms because I did so much. Oh, I'm in agony. I'm in pain. Thanks, Mel. Hello, gorgeous. Absolutely, Ruth. If you got it, drop it. I typed that in, but it didn't come up. But anyway, I'm just going to show you right now, right here, right now. So just for those of you coming in late, today, YouTube, Twitter, everyone has been, Facebook, have been a twittering about a bit of video that a Facebook community that weirdly I'm part of, but do not participate in because I'm too embarrassed to. I don't want, it's my real name. I don't want people seeing me in there. I'm like, there's no discussions in there that I'm like, I really want to join in on that one. I mean, there's some reasonable people in there, and I'm like, thank God there's a few reasonable people in there. But they gave Fox News some, in fact, before I show you the YouTube thing, because some of you have rolled in a little bit later, a Facebook group basically sent Fox News some more food truck footage. And you can actually hear Kaylee and Maddie, allegedly, turns out on the video that I'm about to show again, sounds like it was them. Thank you. I'll just, I have to do it from YouTube. Hang on. Thanks, Ruth. You're a champ. You have a new sub. I didn't know you. I mean, you've mentioned a few things, but I get off here and, get back to doing, we'll have a look at it. Your 2-minute one. We shall have a look at that shortly. But back to where I was. So Fox News got sent by a Facebook group some extra footage, and they put it out a few hours ago. Probably 5 hours ago. And of course, the gore crows of YouTube and other social media platforms latched onto it and have pretty much spent the day, because of the name Adam is mentioned in the footage, they've spent the day digging and delving. And as it turns out, by pure coincidence and terribly sadly and unfortunately, Kaylee's ex has a friend called Adam. So all day, they've all been digging and discussing Adam. Now, not all of them went so far to say he did it, but the link to the ex, they're now saying the ex did it. And it went off like wildfire. But weirdly, Groovers, a couple of hours later, Fox News put a second Adam-related story up that nobody seems to be talking about. And this is kind of, you've got sore arms too. I had the double shot thing earlier this year, and I was like, okay, this isn't fun. Hi, Motivational Chat with Anne-Marie. So the Fox then, a few hours later, after they put this Facebook and the clip and everything with everyone playing it over and over and over, and you can clearly hear the name Adam, they've put a second thing up, and it's an interview with Steve Gonsalves sitting there with his lawyer, the father of Kaylee, talking about Adam. And it's a completely different Adam. It's not the Adam that all these social media platforms have essentially been either accusing of or connecting him to someone else who they think is a suspect. But nobody played this or talked about it. They've just ignored it. This is coming out of the mouth of a father of a victim. And if you don't want to believe what he's saying, he does have his lawyer there too, which is good. I'm glad that his lawyer's involved because, bless him, I understand his frustration, but I think having a lawyer with you is a good thing. But he even tells the interviewer about what the cops know about this Adam video. And it's a really interesting interview because it's a pretty clear and easy explanation of who the Adam is. But here's the kicker. It's not the Adam that all these YouTubers have been scrutinizing all day and invading every aspect of his private life, whatever they can find. It's bizarre to me. What do these sleuths need? They ignore the information that I'm waiting to hear about. And all of us, like people who genuinely like following crime, the verified stuff, the stuff that people who are connected to the case are talking about, that's what we're hanging out for. And when it comes out, you're like, interesting. Okay, that's interesting. But these sleuths latch on to absolutely everything except stuff that's verified or coming from a reliable source. So here we go. This is Steve Gonsalves explaining who Adam is.
And joining me now is the father of Kaylee Gonsalves, Steve Gonsalves, as well as their family's attorney, Shannon Gray. Steve, thanks so much for joining the program again. I made a promise to you that our audience would stay on this case and not let this case die. We had a cooling off period last week out of respect for law enforcement to bring the temperature down a little bit. What new can you tell us, Steve? I know we got this new surveillance video that was released by our digital team today. What can you tell us?
That film, to the family, we've had that film for a while. I believe the business reached out to us directly, and after they had given it to the police. So it was kind of comforting to us because it's just two girls having a good time talking about, asking about their bartender and just being girls on their way to the grub truck.
Yeah, so you don't suspect that this guy, Adam, that's stated in the video is somehow a suspect or anything like that. You guys have known about this video for a while.
We have, and we asked, and we did the obvious due diligence when we looked into that, and it was pretty clear that this individual was not a part of the investigation as far as a suspect.
Good copy.
Why didn't they play this? After being live for several hours, blaming some innocent kid called Adam. There is an Adam Humanimal. I've just literally played a video of Kaylee Gonsalves' dad explaining exactly who Adam is. And it's not the poor college kid who's been blasted all over social media today. I literally just played it. Would you like me to replay it? I'll play it again for you, Humanimal, because I know you're following this case. But the point of this live is you just checked in. That's cool, Groover. Because I think you'll find this really interesting because all the channels today who've now started to delve into the life of another college kid who just by bad luck happens to also be called Adam. And God only knows how many of them are taking it offline. That's what scares me about this so much. It's irresponsible and reckless to be doing it online, but to take it offline, and we know that people take this stuff offline. But I'm going to play it for you, Humanimal, because you'll be amazed at how easily this is explained. And not only explained, but Steve Gonsalves also uses words like due diligence. Do you think any of these YouTubers do that before they hit live because they've just seen the video and they're like, oh, there's a college kid called Adam. Let's go live for 8 hours and expose this kid and make some bizarre connection to Kaylee's ex. So Kaylee's ex did it. He mentions due diligence. He mentions he's known about this video for weeks, and so have the cops. And Adam, the bartender, who they're talking about, is not a suspect. Here we go.
And joining me now is the father of Kaylee Gonsalves, Steve Gonsalves, as well as their family's attorney, Shannon Gray. Steve, thanks so much for joining the program again. I made a promise to you that our audience would stay on this case and not let this case die. We had a cooling off period last week.
Hang on a sec. Oh, yeah, I'm not even going to play I can play the audio if you guys want, but I think this is way more interesting. But Ryan, hello, how are you? How would Ellie or Steve Gonsalves know for a fact which Adam they were talking about? Because they would have done their due diligence and they would have interviewed. Steve actually mentions the business. The cop spoke to the business. And there may be more audio and footage that hasn't come out that goes into more detail about it. But if you're going to choose who you believe in this instance, are you going to believe a Facebook group that's released a video and now you've got people all over social media exposing a kid called Adam at college? Or are you going to believe the father of a murder victim who's known about the Adam video for weeks, and so have the cops, and they've spoken to the bar? Which speculation's more reckless? He does think it's them talking, yes, him animal, presumably. I'll keep playing it.
Respect for law enforcement to bring the temperature down a little bit. What new can you tell us, Steve? I know we got this new surveillance video that was released by our digital team today. What can you tell us?
That film, to the family, we've had that film for a while. I believe the business reached out to us directly, and after they had given it to the police. So it was kind of comforting to us, because it's just two girls having a good time talking about, asking about their bartender, and just being girls on their way to the grub truck.
Yeah, so you don't suspect that this guy, Adam, that's stated in the video is somehow a suspect or anything like that. You guys have known about this video for a while.
We have, and we did the obvious due diligence when we looked into that, and it was pretty clear that this individual was not a part of the investigation as far as a suspect.
Good copy. So, Steve, what can you tell us about the investigation thus far? We've heard about the car details being.
Yeah. So there you have it. And again, we know 5, maybe 10% of what LE know. There's every single person that those girls encountered that night, including other people at the bar. There might have been other people standing right next to them. We don't know anything. But the fact that YouTubers and social media people are going to run with the video that gets released by a Facebook group and completely ignore. And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think Fox should have shown if they were going to show that footage, they should have also done that interview with Steve Gonsalves and his lawyer at the same time. And this is the sad thing, like everyone's now got to be 50 million steps ahead of everything because of how information getting out is going to be handled. They're not, Ryan. Can you imagine if they did right now? Like, they're not going to mention the suspect till they've got a watertight case, because the last thing they want is whoever did this to not be convicted. They're not going to start willy-nilly listing off people that might be suspects. Can you imagine? I mean, we've already had God knows how many innocent people's lives absolutely invaded and put out there for everyone to gore about. It's just, and they haven't actually used the word cleared either, interestingly. But that's part of the problem too, because there's already, well, they didn't say they've actually cleared them. Well, no, they don't. They don't. There might be people that the YouTube sleuths are rabbiting on about that are still up high on that whiteboard of possible suspects, but they haven't used the word cleared. I mean, when they use cleared, then anyone that keeps going live and saying that person did it really does need to shut up. Thanks, Mel. Thank you too for your hitting the thumbs ups and everything else. Appreciate it. I'm not going to debate it with you, Ryan, because it sounds like you're in the wrong channel, because out of the two, my whole point is you can't go live with this video and then name a college kid and spend hours ripping their lives to shreds without showing that second video that's coming out of the mouth of a father of a victim. Like, if you're going to show one, show both. I mean, I appreciate you being a critical thinker. There's nothing wrong with that. The point of this live is this, once again, social media platforms getting a little snippet of something and running with it, and they haven't done their due diligence. They've done there were people live with it literally minutes after it went up on the Fox website. They did no due diligence. They've then, we've heard that Jack D has a friend called Adam, so let's bring his photo up and let's ream him. We're certainly open to discussion, Ryan, but I don't think you're getting my point. My point is, you can't show one thing and then a couple of hours later, a victim's father's speaking about it and doesn't say, we've seen Steve Gonsalves fired up and angry. Does he look worried about this little bit of footage? No. Has he got good reason to not be worried about it? Most likely. But if you're going to show one, show the other. Hey, Plumey, and we're very much into discussion, but we're not into sleuthing. You'll never see me show some poor college kid's Facebook page and pull it to shreds. I'm going to just show you, though, because I was going to before, just so that you know that I wasn't making it up about YouTube going crazy about this today. And I refreshed the page not that long ago, so I've filtered this to the today. Yeah, like the glove. Hey, Lotus Flower. I'm a mod friend here and a mod for Graz, where I saw you last. No, it's actually responsible. I'm not being I'm a court criminal. Well, I was. I'm not practicing crim now. My point is that they continue to do things online. It is a criminal defense lawyer's wet dream, and guilty people are going to start walking free because of how reckless everyone is being online. I am showing the video that came out 2 or 3 hours, 2.5 hours after the other article, and saying if you're going to show one, show both. And out of the two, the one I'm putting more weight on is the victim's father speaking, not a little clip that came from a Facebook page that the victim's father and Ellie have known about for weeks, irrespective of who the Adam is. Does that make sense? I like Graz too. Has Graz done anything lately? All right, but let's just have a look. Let's see if there's anyone on YouTube going, wait a minute. There's another thing to do with the Adam thing. Let's just scroll down. I literally typed in Idaho and Adam in the search bar. I didn't narrow it down any more than that. Got Law and Crime. That's a really good one to watch. Dividing internet rumors and known facts. There we go. Who's Adam? Oh my God, new footage in the Idaho murder case. Who is Adam? Where's a tale of two Adams? Breaking, new surveillance footage released with a possible new suspect. New audio from Madison and Kaylee. What did you say to Adam? New audio, Kaylee and Maddie, hours before homicides. Who is Adam? Someone's actually live about it now, Monkey Ma. Hopefully Monkey Ma's showing the second Fox item as well. Who's Adam? Who is Adam? That's why that's my hashtag, actually, just so you know, because it's there. Idaho Murders. Let's talk about Adam. And it keeps going. Keeps going. Oh, my God. Oh, wait. I got excited. I saw a tale of two Adams. It's me. So, yeah. There was one person talking about a tale of two Adams. Well, it could be to an extent, but I'm trying to be as objective as possible. Did people realize there's an Adam at Corner Bar? Well, I guess everyone that lives in that town probably does. Most pub going peeps know the name of their bartenders. Well, actually, sadly, they're not, because unfortunately, college kid Adam is friends with one of the Jacks. So the channels that weren't saying Adam did it are saying it's proof that Jack did. It just, yeah. When will the madness stop? That's a question on everybody's lips. I'm going to end this with Wake the Truck Up America's little clip. Don't strike me, Wake the Truck Up America. Your internet just went down. But it's back up now, Miss Kay. All I'm saying, Ryan, is even if people are subjective or if they're able to be objective, look at everything. Don't just cherry pick the stuff that is sensational. I'm asking, why didn't they show both? Why did they go live for hours? Why do I know more about this Adam at college than I want to? And I literally bounce between 5 channels briefly. Steve Gonsalves has known about this footage for weeks. So have the cops. They've done their due diligence. I think everyone in that town has probably been interviewed or close to it by now. But if right here, right now, we had to go, which one is more credible? I'm going with the father of a victim with his lawyer sitting up there next to him. Oh, does anyone do good massages? My arms, my shoulders are so sore. I want to keep going live, but I'm like, I think I need to put some Denka Rub or Tiger Balm on my arm. Yeah, well, I don't think that's an issue. If Steve has seen it and he thinks it's them, I mean, I'll play it. Well, I mean, it was a complicated story already too. That's the unfortunate thing. 4 murders, and horrible murders. But now there's all these twists and turns and tips, and I mean, there are people that are saying that they, they can't sleep because of it. And there are people that are so invested in this. I think some of them need to just have a little breather from it. Because I think a lot of them, it's probably just information overload too. This is why I just try to stick to things that are verified when they come out. A TENS machine. Hey, Savannah, can someone deliver one to me now, please? What drives me to do these lives is, as a former criminal lawyer, I'm still a lawyer, but I just don't do crim anymore. All this stuff is a defense lawyer's wet dream. You need one witness to say the same story with different bits in it, and you can go, they're not reliable, I'm striking them. And God forbid it's the prosecution's key witness that you get struck. But as a defense lawyer, if you're able to do that, and it weakens the prosecution's case, and your client isn't convicted, then you've done your job. I need a jacuzzi. I've got a beach to soak in. Maybe I need to go there. All right, so we'll play the little bit of audio that was sent to Fox News by a Facebook group, even though the cops and Steve Gonsalves saw this weeks ago. Here we go. Pretty quiet audio too, but hopefully you guys, did you hear it? It's something along the lines of, what did you say? Hang on. Oh, I should have taken something before I... What did you say to Adam? And then I don't know if it's like or I told him everything. Might be like. So that was the little clip that got released to Fox earlier on today. Today for me in Australia. And that's what got everyone delving into Adam the college kid's life. I mean, it could have been something, I don't know. No, I don't want to speculate. It's not so much speculating. I'm just going to be a critical thinking, throw a curler in, a bit like Ryan is, because I'm up for that, dude. I'm seriously open to it. But I just think if you're going to play one thing, you should play both. But I mean, I've had conversations like with my friends even recently, where someone knows a barman a little bit better than the other people, and someone in the group goes, "He's a bit of an all right," and the next thing you're like, "Oh, by the way, I told the guy behind the bar you think he's cute. What did you say to him?" Told him everything. Oh. Just saying, there's millions of ways you can interpret that. That's one of millions. Too cold for beaches? The sea would be frozen. Yeah, like I told him everything. But now, I think people have to remember too that there were other people out with them at the pub and so on that survived the night. Like they're interviewing people that were with them that night. But now let's go to Steve Gonsalves again, because I noticed there's a few more people that have rolled in. And g'day groovers, or sorry, smoothers, welcome. Fox put this up a few hours later. It could be anything. But everything that is being overly scrutinized could be everything. That's the problem, isn't it? Okay, so this is Kaylee's dad. And the guy in the screenshot or the screen at the moment with him, sitting next to him, or not next to him literally, but the other dude, that's his lawyer. And this was Fox a couple of hours later. And what I'm really questioning is if these sleuths are so sleuthy, then sleuth everything. But they're just, I don't know, it's a bit like emus and ostriches. It's like this has come out and all the heads have gone into the sand. Put it this way, and I'd never do it. But say I was a channel that had gone live today and had gone down it's Adam the college kid road. And then I was brushing my teeth, getting ready for Betty, and getting ready for bed, and then up pops a notification that this has been put out on Fox. God damn it, I'd go live in my nightie and say, hey, guys, there's another Adam in the mix. But like I said, I'd never go live with the earlier one and then go down the let's investigate a college kid called Adam and everything to do with his life. Because, we're all a bit bored doing that with all the Jacks in the story. We've got an Adam now. Let's go. I would get up and do a live in my nightie and go, wow, the plot thickens. Here be another Adam in the mix. But Petey, but Savannah, this is the problem. Because college kid Adam is not may not be the Adam that the girls were talking about. Steve Gonsalves, Kaylee's dad, says they spoke to the business, which you would suggest is the bar. They've done their due diligence, and Adam is the guy behind the bar. He's the bartender. Now, I'm not saying 100% that's correct either, but this whole going back and telling Jack, no. At the moment, the more likely story is it's Adam the bartender and Steve Gonsalves, who's been understandably incredibly frustrated and upset. We've seen him furious. He's calm as pie in this. He's not remotely fazed about this. And for the newbies that have strolled on in, but that's the Adam that's being pulled apart online, Savannah. I'm trying to show you that Steve Gonsalves and the cops identified another Adam who works in the bar where the girls were drinking that night. The roommate has been blasted all over YouTube today, and they've delved into everything about him that they can possibly find. None of those channels have followed up with this second offering from Fox only a couple of hours later with the father of the victim, who knows more than we do, talking about another Adam. This is my point.
Me now is the father of Kaylee Gonzalez, Steve Gonzalez, as well as their family's attorney, Shannon Gray. Steve, thanks so much for joining the program again. I made a promise to you that our audience would stay on this case and not let this case die. We had a cooling off period last week out of respect for law enforcement to bring the temperature down a little bit. What new can you tell us, Steve? I know we got this new surveillance video that was released by our digital team today. What can you tell us?
That film, to the family, we've had that film for a while. I believe the business reached out to us directly, and after they had given it to the police. So it was kind of comforting to us because it's just two girls having a good time talking about, asking about their bartender and just being girls on their way to the grub truck.
Yeah, so you don't suspect that this guy, Adam, that's stated in the video is somehow a suspect or anything like that. You guys have known about this video for a while.
We have, and we asked, and we did the obvious due diligence when we looked into that, and it was pretty clear that this individual.
I'm going to play it again, but the irony isn't lost on me when he says the obvious due diligence. It's obvious you do your due diligence. But the original clip that was sent to Fox by a Facebook group, there were people going live with it within 5 or 10 minutes of it popping up on Fox. Did they do the obvious due diligence? What do you reckon?
Individual was not a part of the investigation as far as a suspect.
Good copy. So, Steve, what can you tell us about the investigation thus far? We've heard about the car.
I'm going to replay that for the people in the back, as they say on YouTube. Here we go.
And joining me now is the father of Kaylee Gonzalez, Steve Gonzalez, as well as their family's attorney, Shannon Gray. Steve, thanks so much for joining the program again. I made a promise to you that our audience would stay on this case and not let this case die. We had a cooling off period last week out of respect for law enforcement to bring the temperature down a little bit. What new can you tell us, Steve? I know we got this new surveillance video that was released by our digital team today. What can you tell us?
That film, to the family, we've had that film for a while. I believe the business reached out to us directly, and after they had given it to the police. So it was kind of comforting to us because it's just two girls having a good time talking about, asking about their bartender and just being girls on their way to the grub truck.
Yeah, so you don't suspect that this guy, Adam, that's stated in the video is somehow a suspect or anything like that.
And again, I'm going to mention, we've seen how distraught and fired up and angry Steve Gonzalez has been in the past. Does he look worried about this Adam stuff? No. They've known about it for weeks. The cops have known about it for weeks. They did their due diligence. Why didn't all these YouTubers and tweeters and Facebookers cover this as well? Because, I mean, look, don't get me wrong, Fox, don't know much about them and haven't heard good things. But if you had to choose one over the other, would you be going with the Facebook group? And trust me, I'm in it. It's insane. When you spot a reasonable person, the only thing I do is put a thumbs up when I spot somebody reasonable, and it's rare. It's become a very distressing spectator sport. Just the number, the volume of people in there and what they're saying. I mean, there's, I don't even know how many. I haven't counted them. There are numerous threads. I've solved the case. And then they put their theory out there. It's wackadoo, I'm telling you. Or are you going to think that perhaps the interview with Kaylee's dad, talking about how they've known about this footage for weeks, and so have the cops, And he's not remotely fussed about it. I know which one I'm paying more attention to. It's not the one from the Facebook group.
And you guys have known about this video for a while.
We have, and we did the obvious due diligence when we looked into that, and it was pretty clear that this individual was not a part of the investigation as far as a suspect.
Good copy. So, Steve, what can you tell us about the investigation?
And also when he says, you know, it's just a couple of girls out having a good night. Like, he's not even concerned at the girls' behavior. He knows them better than we do. We don't know them at all. Maddie was like another daughter to them. You think if there was anything concerning in the two of them mentioning Adam, the bartender, possibly, presumably, more likely. You think if there was anything that set off a little alarm bells for him, he might mention that. He's not remotely fussed about it. He's like, he says it was, what were his words? It's reassuring. It's just two girls that having fun talking about Adam, the bartender, on their way to the food truck. But that's not what the YouTubers chose to show everybody. I mean, it did come out a couple of hours later. But when you're live and you're covering stuff and there's notifications that you can get on your phone and stuff, and you see something that's popped up and you're like, oh, hang on, just taken my subscribers way down the wrong road. Oops, we've gone up the wrong tree. I might just say, what is this? I'll be with you in a minute, subs. Oh, plot twist. Let me show you this, guys. Isn't that what you do? That's what I'd do. Doobie-doo. Bye, Lotus Flower. I've been neglecting Sunny's Instagram. Yeah, I'm leaning towards it was nothing. And they've known about it a lot longer than we have, because what do we keep saying on this channel? 5 to 10%, if that is what we all know. I hate to break it to the sleuths out there, but this case isn't going to be solved by sleuths. It's not. It's not. There's so much critical information in investigating a case that we will never have, thank goodness. Hopefully. There'll probably some creep will leak things down the track, but just the crime scene itself tells a story. The bodies tell stories. All the forensic testing tells stories. The DNA, we don't know any of that. We're not going to solve this case. Hey, Joman. Hello, Tori. My apologies for coming off rude. Oh, cheers, Grover. No worries. Just a bit protective of my little scout. I know it is a double-edged sword. The information, the amount out there, and that's why I keep thinking, you know, is this, when will it get to a point? I mean, I thought with Joseph Morris nightmare, when is it going to get, because although, you know, I'm still mesmerized by that saga, and it was incredibly irresponsible of him, but why isn't it equally irresponsible of all these other people putting stuff out there too? You know, like they are essentially twisting things. They're not falsifying evidence. Well, they are, because they're theorizing about stuff that isn't confirmed or verified as being factual. It doesn't mean that media outlets are going to have to clamp down. I mean, the media, I haven't done a live on this yet, but the media coverage of this is so irresponsible as well, because it's actually feeding the sleuths. I've actually seen Ashley Banfield interview an expert talking about, I think it was DNA and forensics. And when he finished his explanation, which was coherent, clear, and made perfect sense, her response was, I don't care about that. Okay, let's just write off experts talking about the topic they know about. It's just mind-boggling to me. I agree, Savannah. I hope they do too. And I'm not one of those people going, it's getting cold. It's going cold. It's not going cold, people. The poor buggers, they're still combing through all the tips that they're getting. Imagine how many people rang the tip line today after this Adam thing. And you can just picture them going, yes, we've known about Adam for weeks. We've known about the Adam video. Here we go again. Okay, so what was I going to do? Oh, wake the truck up, America. I'm wondering. I mean, the privacy laws in Australia are so tight that we don't get anything like this. That's why it's so captivating to be looking on from afar, just going, whoa. Our privacy laws are incredibly tight. I showed in a live, I did a couple of, this week, I think, when we were looking at some articles about the murders in Idaho. In Australia, our media are still blurring out, the photo with the 6 of them? Our media here still blurs out the faces of the 2 roommates who survived. And also, it actually said in the article, we will not be naming the survivors. We're respecting their privacy. Jen Lou was with me and I showed it to her and she was like, wow, like just the difference in what information is put out there. I mean, obviously you can find their names out. It's all over everywhere because that information's freely delivered to the hungry public in the States. But it's just so interesting that here they still blurred out faces and didn't name them to respect their privacy. Okay, wake the truck up, America. I'm loving it already. Just the title alone. So this is the fab. I don't know about that humanimal. I do not know about that. I'd look into it. But yeah, I'm not equipped to comment. I'm not aware of that. I can look into it. So fabulous. Wake the truck up, America. We'll pass it on, Jamin. It's okay. Plain text is a bit tricky too. I mean, it could have been sarcasm and tongue-in-cheek, but plain text, that tone isn't always delivered. I get myself into trouble all the time. Someone in the chat the other day, I was asking a question. It was probably about this case. It's a line I use all the time. I'm like, I think it might have been about Bullhorn Betty. I don't feel bad about anything I say about her, but it was like all these people that put out that they're such great investigators, and yet none of them have been snapped up by the FBI to work for them yet, have they? And someone said to me, you sound angry. And I said, no, I'm sarcastic. Sorry, you're not fluent in it. All right. We're going to play Wake the Truck Up's video, which is entitled What Alleged True Crime Reporting Has Come to in the Streets. The streets being the streets of YouTube. Check this out, guys. Real. Oh my god, and it is like a game show. It's awful. Yep. Perfect. Perfect. So good. Oh my god, Daryl of Monkeys. Wait, the grift. Uh-oh. Lies are decent. Lies are way to the truth. So good. Because, yeah, the action. That was excellent. Wake the truck up, America. Good work. Hang on, I'm just going to drop the link. Yeah. It's totally a game show. 4 kids lost their lives horribly. They were real people with their lives ahead of them, and their lives were ruthlessly, cruelly, and viciously cut short. It's not a game. I actually saw a comment, I think, in the Facebook group that I'll probably get kicked out of if they make the connection to this channel. And not that I'm not participating in there, but somebody said, this is critical evidence, everybody. It's one step closer for us to hunt a killer. And I was like, oh, my God. Because there's that game, Hunter Killer. That's basically what they're playing. We're one step closer and closer in our hunt. Well, I didn't say this is one more thing we need to hunt a killer was the exact wording. And I was like, wow, way to minimize the deaths of real people. Scary. So anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out. Went a bit longer than I planned, but yeah, if you're going to go nuts over one source and a couple of hours later they add a bit more that's a bit more out of the two reliable, in my opinion. You might disagree, but I'm never going to take the word of Facebook, people in a Facebook group, over the words that come out of the mouth of a victim's dad. I'm just not. But it's up to you guys who you want to pay attention to. I just think in future, when you see something, ask those questions. Did it come from a reliable source? And is this something the cops would already know about? And if your answers are no and yes, then don't even tune into that channel. Oh, I'm going to go and rub a lot of Tiger Balm into my arm. I was going to do a live a bit later about the shootings in Queensland. There's been quite a lot of information that's come out about that, including the investigation, who's going to be conducting that. So it's kind of interesting. There was a memorial held for the victims as well. I'll see how I go. If I can't get my arms to extend beyond this, you may not see me again till during the week. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and hopefully knowing that there's a couple of atoms in the mix, you might stop listening to the channels that are only talking about one possibly innocent college kid, another one who's now under scrutiny. I can't even imagine what they're going through. A bit like with Kylie Rodney, these kids that were having the same thing done to them weren't just left in peace to grieve the loss of people they loved or a person they loved. And they're kids. Can you imagine? Love you guys, genuinely. It's a good community. Thank you to all the new people that came in as well. Ryan, I hope you come back. Always down for some discussion. And remember, everyone, until next time, don't get struck by a smooth criminal. I'll see you all again very soon.
DJ Gorbacha. He can see she with a neighbor.